Hi, everybody. Welcome, the George Mossey Show. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be discussing season 8, episode 1 of Happily Ever After, which just aired. This was the premiere. Cara and Didi will join us tonight. And I got to get everybody's opinion on the first episode, the premiere episode, because I need to know how everybody feels. Controversial. A lot of people are very disappointed in the cast. Never got a lot of feedback, and everyone is like, "Oh, so no one else was available." A lot of people are very disappointed. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. Hey, Judy. Hey, James.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing tonight?
Oh, Saf Bunny is here. Hey, Cara's here. Miss Mallette. Hello. It's a little late. I was trying to make my tea. I made it, actually. I actually did make it, but that's why I'm late. Hey!
Happy St.
Hi.
Day.
How are you?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I'm okay.
So there's a lot to talk about because we saw someone on this premiere that we weren't supposed to see. And we had a lot of information, a lot of people telling us that we weren't supposed to see these people. So I kind of want to start out with the elephant in the room. Like, I want to talk about the fact that Nicole and Mahmoud are still on the season. We're going to see their full story. They didn't shorten them, you know how they did with Alina and Caleb, and they gave us all of the episodes in like 2 weeks. Yeah. It appears that they're going to play out their season. So I want to get a little reactions on that. How do you guys feel with the fact that what we know now, that they are still going to air the footage as it was taken?
I don't even want to watch it.
Well,
yeah, I was trying to fast forward through it because I'm not going to watch something that I'm against.
Yep, me too.
I was just shocked. Like, I actually heard from a lot of people, some pretty good sources, that they weren't going to air them. So when I saw them pop up, it's interesting because they left them out of all of the videos they posted up until the premiere. Did you notice that they didn't put them in any of the premieres? I'm sorry, of the promo videos for the premiere. They made sure that they weren't present. And it's almost like they wanted to surprise us, but this wasn't a good surprise, right? This wasn't a good surprise. I feel like most people on Twitter reacted, the way that you both reacted. They were very like, well, I don't want to take part. I don't want to watch. I don't want to follow along because I know, the outcome of this situation. And it's detrimental, to all women. Any woman who's been in this situation, who's been abused or been a victim of domestic violence, this isn't something that we want to follow or support, right? We don't want to be on that side of the fence. So a lot of people, they don't really know how to handle, dealing with this situation. Like, do we keep watching? Do we boycott? What do we do?
I think it's awful, and I don't think we should talk about them.
Yeah, no. I'm in agreement with Cara because if we're going to stoop down to the level as TLC, then we're supporting TLC in doing something they shouldn't be doing in the first place.
Yep.
Because they're showing women that they don't give a crap how women are treated, as long as they getting the views and the no matter what kind of feedback, whether it's positive or negative, as long as they're getting some kind of feedback, they're good.
Yep.
I am totally fine with that. Actually, I think the last time that I did a podcast where we actually skipped over people completely, I believe it was, what's her name? Biniam and Ariella. I think my one co-host, she just couldn't stand them. And it was just easier for us to just omit them altogether. Yep. We just didn't want to deal with the BS. So I'm totally fine with it. We don't have to follow their story. We don't have to talk about, what's going on with them. And I feel like if they didn't take them out of the show, we can take them out of this show. You know, like we can remove them from this show. We don't have to support, broadcasting what that relationship looked like, how it got to that point. And it was just interesting to me. There was no disclaimer on the episode. Like, if you or someone has been a victim of domestic violence, there's this phone number, there's this place where you go. Nothing. And I feel like TLC is known, for just ignoring the elephant. They do what they want to do, and the damage that it caused, it's collateral damage of being in the business of reality TV. And I feel like they got to start treating people like people and respecting people. You know, because imagine what this is like. I don't know what's going on with Nicole, but imagine if she has been scarred by this situation, and you know, reliving this could be a very horrible trigger for her to go through. So airing it out of, you know, taking it out of respect for her who might be in the healing process. I don't know that. I don't know if they're not together. I don't know any of that. I don't follow either one of them. So I'm just saying, but like you said, this can be very tragic and triggering for someone to have to relive. So now that we talked about that, Hannah, send me a DM if you want to pop on the show anytime. I would love to talk to you actually regarding what's going on with that. But anyway, oh, Dana, I saw your DMs. I apologize. I've been like super crazy, insanely busy lately. So I have like probably 150 DMs over the past 2 days that I have not answered. I love you guys. It's just been a crazy weekend. I promise I'm going to get back to you. I swear. Well, Judy says they're still together, according to Shabuti. Yeah, but Shabuti also told me that they edited out them from the season. So it's like, I don't know who to trust anymore. I don't know who to believe anymore at this point, because I had some pretty good sources tell me that we weren't going to see them. So yeah. I don't know where to go with that. But I want to talk about Emily and Kobe because they're back. It appears that they're still living in her parents' basement. And they're going to be taking a trip to Cameroon to meet his family. And I just think that, you know, we saw people go back to their home countries for the wedding situation. I want to say it was Andre and Libby, right? They went back to Moldova. It was kind of a train wreck because that's kind of where Charlie took the microphone and went off on Andre, which it didn't matter. It was in English and they didn't speak it. But, you know, it was kind of a train wreck. So how do you guys feel about Kobe believes that his family is going to have an issue with Emily because she's Emily, right? Like Emily is a very controlling person. And, you know, as her husband knows that she's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
So he has worry. He's like, well, be a little less you and somebody else, and this might go well. So I'm just wondering, is it important that Kobe's family accepts Emily? Because they're already 3 babies in, right? Like at this point, is it really going to make a difference if they like her or not? Or do you think it doesn't matter? Because in my opinion, he's already living in the U.S. He already has 3 babies. You know, he's made a life over here. It doesn't really matter at this point, right?
Right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's all just for the show. I mean, they literally packed up their entire freaking house to go.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks. I mean...
And yeah, I thought that it was a little excessive, but they're excessive, right? You remember when Emily brought Kobe over and she had him working on the farm, you know, and everybody was like, this isn't like cool. You know, you don't bring a black man over from Africa and have him like working out in the farm. You know, we've seen that and it did not end well, you know, like it didn't end well. Yeah. So I think that, you know, this is going to be an interesting take on it. But again, for dramatic purposes of the season, they're going to want his family to hate her, which it won't be too hard. You know, Emily is Emily, right? Like people don't just kick down doors to love her, right? So I feel like it's going to be easy for that to happen. But in the end, you know, it doesn't really make a difference. They're going to get back on the plane. Well, I think it was 2 or 3 planes, 2 car rides, and a train. Whatever they took to get to Cameroon.
Seriously, they only brought her parents. Like, did her parents need to go? No, they're just babysitters.
Yeah, to babysit the kids.
That's all it is.
Well,
they can't do anything without her parents. They even living in their parents' basement, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to live with your parents. I'm not saying that at all. But they keep complaining I'm like, ever since they've been on the show, not only this season, but every season that they've been on, they have done nothing but complain that they have no privacy, that they have to do everything that her parents want. Well, hello, you're in their home. If you're not happy, move out. Plain and simple.
But also,
it looks like Kobe's working now.
Aside from babysitting, why are you taking the parents? The parents don't need to freaking go. They need a break too.
I'm assuming it's so there can be some conflict between the parents. You know, usually
probably so.
Yeah,
probably so.
Normally there's conflict between in-laws. That's kind of like a given when, especially with different cultures. You know, sometimes y'all can all look the same and y'all still don't like each other. You know, like it. But when you add the different culture, you know, that obviously is going to start something. So I don't know. I think for dramatic purposes, but more so that they can go out and live their life with a babysitter. Because I don't know if they know how good they have it, because a lot of women are out there, and men and couples, without that type of help, that pay $500 to $1,000 to more than $1,000 a month just for daycare. So I don't want to hear them complaining about the situation that they're in, because at any moment they can get in the car and leave that house and leave those kids with people that they love and trust and be able to do anything that they want to do. And that's a blessing. And I think that they're complaining. It's a little coming off as a little ungrateful for their situation. Like, that's a big ass basement. I don't know if you guys have seen like the scenes of that basement. It's like an apartment. Like, there's basements that are nasty and one room and concrete and they're wet and they're gross. And then there's where they live, which I think if they were renting that out to somebody else, they could get a decent amount of money, right? Yeah. So I think that they should be a little more grateful of the situation that they're in, because, there's a lot of people paying a lot of money in rent for places much worse, right? Yeah. Disarray, disgusting. Well, let's talk about Rob's apartment in LA, right? Like, he was paying, I think he verified online, it was between $1,000 and $1,200 for his apartment. Yeah. That apartment didn't have bathrooms inside. And, that's a lot of money. So they should, and at this point, somebody said this on Twitter, how much money do you think that they could have saved by now? Right? Because they've been doing pillow talk pretty frequently. And Alex, it's a show you don't even watch. They've been doing pillow talk pretty frequently. And they're on another season. And it's like, at this point, they probably have enough money to get a house and a car, right? Like, I feel like they're...
And he's working. I mean, she's a stay-at-home mom, but he's working.
Well, yeah, he's working full-time in construction, and he's making money, and I'm assuming they're going to save up and buy a house. I'm assuming that's what the situation is, because if they were just going to get an apartment, that's
they've
something
been
they could have done.
Living with her parents for 4 years. So you mean to tell me y'all have not saved up money in 4 years to get your own place?
It's more
and on Diaries, they were shopping for a house to buy. So
I didn't watch Diaries because there wasn't nobody on there I cared to see.
Well, yeah, I think that the situation is they're saving up for a house. When you buy a house, your down payment is astronomical. I don't know, depending on the amount of the house. Like, I think my house was a down payment $75,000. It's something astronomical. It's something you look at the person and you're like, so I'm supposed to have that just laying around waiting. Yeah. So I'm assuming they're buying, and that's the situation. I don't know what the housing market looks like in Salinas, Kansas. But if it's anything like the housing market where you are, Cara, it's probably really, really, really expensive to own a house where you're not going to be unalived in a crime around you, right? So I'm assuming that that's the situation. Oh, I want to talk about Gino and Jasmine, because we found out that they're married, and she had been there a couple of months when they started filming Happily Ever After. So this is bringing us back to probably like April or whatever of last year, right? April or May. Because we know when she arrived, it was in March of last year. We saw the picture. She was in a Walmart or somewhere. We know that. And we know that they spent so much money on the wedding that they had to go camping for a honeymoon. And it had outdoor showers.
That's what they're making us think. But if you remember right, last year, the 4th of July pictures that circulated, they were both on a boat, and she was pretending she was still in Panama, and he was just on a boat for 4th of July. I
thought that was when they were in Miami. Am I wrong?
It was 4th of July, which is why she's wearing an American flag bikini.
Yeah, I remember them being in Miami last year for 4th of July.
It's the same.
They spent a lot of money on the wedding. How?
Well, I remember a number between something about $40,000. Y'all remember that on the episode?
On what? We watched the wedding.
I don't know how much it cost for real, but I know for the number of guests that they said, the woman said like $40,000, and this was all inclusive. This was the venue, the seating, the food, the drinks. This was supposed to be everything. Is that a real number? Is that something accurate?
That would be an accurate number for an actual wedding. What they had was like, I could throw that together in my front yard for $400.
Well, it kind
of. And we all know they didn't pay for it. TLC paid for it. I mean, come on. What are they trying to do? It
reminded me of Sam and Citra's wedding. It was like an outdoor setup, right? It was like outdoor at a barn. So I can't imagine 40 grand, you know, for that. And did they donate 35,000? That's funny. Exactly. Or did Jasmine use the 35,000 for a new ass and then they used 5,000 on the way?
Yeah.
That could also be a possibility at this
There
point.
is no way. There is no way they spent that much money on that wedding.
Nope.
No way possible.
Oh, so who said that? PRB, the wedding dress was $2,000 is what they said on the show. Her dress was $2,000, and I don't know, based on what we saw for the wedding, they might have paid $5,000. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that they were in. I remember them being in Miami last year in July. So I think that their actual honeymoon was in Miami. I don't think they actually. I mean, they could have been at a campsite in Miami. I couldn't tell. Whatever they were doing for the show, they wanted to make it seem as.
I feel like I'm still watching 900 Day Fiance, and we never had a tell-all, and it's the same bullshit.
It's the same.
Over them.
Yes, it's so.
So she's the queen of secrets. Now, she has revealed to us tonight that she doesn't think she can get pregnant again. Gino does not know that, and he thinks that they're trying to have a baby. What do you think about this storyline? Because this is probably going to be their storyline throughout the season, them trying to have a baby, and also she wants to bring her 2 sons over. Wait, is it 2 sons or is it a son and a daughter? No, I'm thinking she has no, that's her sister.
She said 2 sons, but we know it's a son and a daughter.
Well, yeah,
her sister is her daughter.
So
she just wanted everybody to think that we don't know.
We've never actually seen the other son. He's like a myth.
Mm-mm.
So I believe she needs to bring 2 people over. We're bringing at 2 people. And they have until, I think, 6 months from, she had been there 3 months. It would be 6 months before that she could file the paperwork. And she wants Gino to buy a house because there's not enough room in the townhouse for everybody. You know, because she supposedly wants to have a baby, which she says she probably can't have. And then she needs to bring her kids over as well. So is it reasonable to ask an unemployed man to buy a house? Right? Is that reasonable?
Nothing she does is reasonable. Why is she on the show? I'm so over it. I don't even have any good input for these people. Like,
I don't even have anything nice to say about them. Like, seriously.
This is gonna be a tough season, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, for us. You know, my mom was like, don't say anything if you don't have something nice to say. I have to say something, right? We can't just sit here and look at each other. We have to say something.
Very quiet podcast.
It's gonna be tough to get through this, and we haven't even gotten through the worst because Lauren and Alexi are still gonna be on, and Ed and Liz are still. We haven't even gotten through the worst part of it yet. It's going to get much worse. We didn't ask for any of this. We don't know why this is happening. We don't know why we're being subjected to Nicole and Mahmoud. Like, what did we ever do to TLC? I thought that we were super supportive. Like, I actually thought that we were helping contribute to their views and their revenue. And then this is the thanks that we get. We get Jasmine back again with Gino with the same stuff. She's not telling him the truth. She's saying that she can't have kids. And do we believe that? I don't know. Last season, she just didn't want no more. This season, now she wants one, but she doesn't think she can have one. It's just the same thing. Oh, yeah, Judy, you're right. Angela and Michael, too. It is going to get much worse, right? It's going to get a lot worse. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Like, this was just the premiere, and we're already at that point where we're like, how much more, right? How much more do we have to endure?
We literally just watched Ashley and Manuel and Rob and Sophie and Dumb and Dumber, and like, it just keeps spilling over. And we just suffered through like 48 seasons of Gino and Jasmine. Why are we doing this?
I don't know.
Ridiculous. It's
awful.
My
gosh.
I would love to talk to somebody in charge and just be like, when y'all are in the boardroom and y'all are brainstorming ideas, do y'all take in consideration anything that other fans or other people are talking about or are posting on social media? Do y'all just make decisions just based on whatever you want? Do you ever take into consideration like the conversations that are trending? Because people have made it very clear online. There's petitions. They don't want to see Angela and Michael, and they don't want to see Ed and Liz. They've made it very clear, like lots of people, thousands of people, and yet here we are. And it's like y'all don't care what we think, but we're the ones who view the show. We're the ones who watch it. We're the ones who generate the buzz for you. It would help if you guys gave us a little bit more recognition in what we're looking for. Right? We would love to just see a bunch of new people that don't already have
Please.
100,000 followers, right? They don't already have
Yeah.
100,000 followers. They are just normal people. They're in a relationship and they want to share it with the world. That's why we started watching the show in the beginning. We didn't, if Happily Ever After this season premiered, we would have never gotten into it. Like if this was the very first season of 90 Day Fiance, we would have found something else to watch. This is not what we got hooked on. And I think that the network has got to realize change is not always the best thing, right? Like for our country, when we started to now, change was the best thing. But like for this TV show, it needs to go back to its roots, right? We need to go back to the roots. We need to go back to non-influencers, non-relationships, not people that are already married, pretending that they're not, you know, to get on the show. Like we really got to get back to where we started.
Yeah, this is just awful. I don't have anything nice to say about anybody that was on. Like,
oh, so what do you think?
I can say this. I threw up in my mouth a couple of times whenever whenever.
Well, who was it? I'm curious.
Okay, whenever it was starting, I mean, I threw up a couple of times. I really did in my mouth because of what Jasmine was doing to Gino. I mean, it gave it. I'm traumatized. Okay, I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized. Did y'all not see what she was doing to Gino? I mean,
she was licking.
it's bad enough we don't even look at flowers the same. Thanks to Big Ed. Now we're not gonna. Now we're not gonna be looking at.
I haven't looked at them the same since the whole golden shower thing. I mean, I never looked at them in good light, but like the golden shower is.
I think that Jasmine is earning her stay, right? Like she's earning her stay. When I saw this scene with her sucking his toes, and I was just like, she's really earning her stay because I feel like she's having to convince people that her relationship is real, and she's really putting in the work, right? She's putting in the work.
I'm
she's
traumatized,
like,
y'all. I'm traumatized.
I'm
that's disgusting. That is disgusting.
All I can do with Jasmine and Gino is guesstimate how long it's going to be before Jasmine actually cries.
What do you mean?
I'm surprised she didn't cry
today. Crying. Didn't she cry today?
Yes.
Yes.
She cries every single episode. I can't remember the last one she didn't. Every episode.
It's her MO. And I think it's interesting because her and Nikki, I think they're in competition.
Yeah.
With how many times they can cry on screen, and I think that they like it's an interesting dynamic, and it's like how genuine is it? Every time we see her, she's like, "Oh, I don't want to be with him. I hate him. He's disgusting. I want to go back to Panama." She cries, and then every time we turn on another episode, she's still here, tolerating him, right? Like she's still, and it's like it's losing its believability at this point. Kind of like with Brandon and Julia. Every time Brandon did something she didn't like, she's like, "I'm gonna go back to Russia." I'm like, "Girl, you ain't going back to Russia. People in Russia don't want to be in Russia. You're not going back.
Yeah.
You got out. You're not going back. No one ever does that. Just like Andre never went back to Moldova. Like no, they don't go back. Once you get out, you stay. You want to leave for a reason. So don't give me that BS that you want to go back."
Yep.
So what do you think about?
I'm sorry.
What do you think about?
Did y'all catch what Sophie said tonight? Did y'all catch what she said?
Which one?
Whenever they first started talking, they started talking to her.
About
what have you been saying this whole time?
That she's with that girl?
No. She said it was her idea to get the K1 visa.
And we said they're not together. We said they both live in Texas. They're not together. She moved on with a woman. We wrote TLC's script for this one.
Yeah, that was my next question. I was going to ask you, do you think that Sophie is in a relationship with this girl? Because she moved out and she was gone for 2 months. And in my opinion, 2 months is a breakup. Like you can't say, because she made it seem like I just needed to get away. Yeah, that's for a couple of days if you're married. Married people don't just break up for 2 months and not see each other, not call each other, and have no communication. That made me believe that at that point she was checked out of the relationship. She had no interest in going back. She didn't want to be bothered. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Rob's a piece of crap, right? He cheats on her. He talks to women behind her back. I'm not saying that Sophie should go back. He's a piece of garbage. But I think it's interesting that she found this girl in Austin because they lived in California. So there's this girl that she knew. I'm assuming knew already, right? Like
online.
that's what I'm assuming, right? She already knew her.
Met her online. She had all this shit set up. This was all set up. She met this girl online. That's why she's there.
Do you think that Sophie moved to Austin and then Rob followed her? Because I was like, how did they both end up there, but she's with someone else? So I thought maybe she left him in California.
No,
and moved to Austin.
Think they moved together. They moved together. That was her ticket out to get to this girl. They got together, split up while they're there, and she just magically had a place to go.
So do you?
Yeah, because remember now, Rob said that she factory reset his phone, and then all of the text messages that he had going on with these girls came up. That's what caused the fight, and then she left. So yes, they planned everything, or she planned everything with that girl. The girl probably told her how to get all these messages in the phone. She did what the girl said, and then wham bam.
Yep.
So do you think that this meeting where they're pretending like they want to work things out, that's because the show is about to start filming, and to get paid, you have to make sure that you have a story. So I think that he's playing along. He probably knows that she's in this relationship with her, that she's not coming back. But this is a pretty lucrative opportunity. 2,500 an episode is pretty good. Just to pretend and tolerate someone, which is kind of what they were doing anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So if somebody offers you that much money for that long, you kind of take the opportunity as a win, and you pretend, because it's pretty clear, because I think somebody said in the chat, it's pretty clear that that girl that she woke up in bed with, they're sleeping together, right? Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
They
gave it away with the song that they were playing.
Well, also the statement where she's like, "I can take better care of you than him." Like that's not something that friends usually say to each other.
She said, "I've been taking better care of you than Rob ever has." So
yeah, that makes me feel like, and we know that she's bisexual, so the fact that it's a woman, that didn't surprise me. I was like, well, she needed to figure out what was going on there anyway, and I don't blame her. Like, honestly, at this point, what I did want to ask you, how do you guys feel about Sophie's mom, Claire, and her newfound American boyfriend? American men? How do you guys feel about that?
Sophie's mom, Claire's excuse for being back on the show?
Oh.
Is that what you meant?
Is that what this is? So do you think that there's no real relationship there?
No.
But
I'm with Cara, no.
Do you think that her plan was to come over here all along? Her mom too?
Yes. George, what have we been telling you? What have we been telling you? That's all she needed was a green card to get over here. And then she finally admitted it tonight that it was her idea.
Yeah,
her idea to get the K1 visa for her to come over here. Okay, she got over here. They got married. And just like with 99% of the people that are on TLC, on 90 Day Fiancé, they get married, they get their green card, and they make up all these excuses why they don't need to be together, or either they just pack their stuff up and they leave.
Yep.
I understand her process because when we first met her, she kept saying, it's my dream to come to the U.S. It's my dream to move to L.A. This is my dream. She never said that being with Rob was her dream. She always described her dream as a location, not a relationship. So it always made me raise my eyebrow a little bit with her, because I was like, well, if your dream was always to live over here, you don't have to be in you do. I guess you do, because in order for her to get here, stay here, and be able to make money here, she kind of has to be in a relationship or a marriage with somebody. Because is it possible to get a green card without getting married if you're from another country? I don't know a lot about immigration. You can't just move over here because you want to, right?
It's possible to get a green card. It's just a longer process.
Oh, she did.
So this was a quicker process.
Now she did it. She's here. She's now got a girlfriend. She's happy. Mom's still getting TLC checks. She's here. Everybody's happy now. Rob can go with all of his women.
Why are they even on the show? It says happily ever after. It doesn't say trying to make up our mind if we're staying together. I mean, why are they on this season? They're not even together. Everybody knows they're not together.
Yep.
Well, the first
We knew they
opening
wasn't
scene,
together by the way they were acting on the tell-all. Their chemistry gave it away.
yeah, that's funny because you did say that. You said that they were sitting too far apart. Their mannerisms, the way that they reacted to each other. You said it appeared as two people who weren't sleeping together, is what you said, right? You said that there's no chance that there's anything going on with them. And now, the very first episode and the very first scene, we find out you were right. There was nothing going on. So I wonder how long after they filmed the tell all were they not together? Or do you think when they filmed the tell all for the last season, they were already broken up?
Yes.
So they just
Yep.
pretended that things were
Yep.
okay because this season hasn't aired yet. Oh, I get you. I got you. So yeah, they were playing a game, but you saw through the game because you're right. They were the only two that were sitting really far apart, and even in the green rooms, they weren't together. He was on one side of the room, she was on the other side of the room. They
Yep.
weren't eating together. They weren't talking. They weren't communicating. Hi, bestie. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Yeah, it's all been set up. The whole thing set up.
This is really interesting because this new season, I feel like it's a bunch of BS stories pieced together that make no sense because we all know that Ed and Liz are gonna pop up on this season, but they're also gonna break up on this season. So it's like it's a bunch of failed situations piled together into one. It's kind of like a cluster crap of breakups that they thrown under the happily ever after brand, which I think is ridiculous. You know, I think that they should have a spinoff called 90-Day Disasters, you know, and they could put all of the disasters together, Ed and Liz and Rob and Sophie and Angela and Michael, put all the disasters together. I feel like that would make more sense. And I would be way more interested in watching people fight and break up, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's way more interesting than watching people pretend to like each other for 18 episodes when we know that they don't. Like, that's less interesting for me.
Oh, I totally agree.
The only ones that should be the only ones that we know that is legit still together and somewhat happily ever after is Alexi and
Lauren.
Lauren and Colby and what's her face?
Emily
and Colby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both.
I mean, the other ones, we already know they're not even together anymore. They weren't even together on the tell-all.
Right. And how do you guys feel? Like, I'm not a Lauren and Alexi fan. Only because, like, there's no drama. So I know that they're coming up this season. So how do you guys feel about that? Because I told y'all I never got through more than one episode of their spinoff. There was 2 seasons of their spinoff. I only got through one episode.
The same as with Nicole and Mahmoud. Skip it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just...
They're a fill-in because Ed and Liz ain't going to be on there long.
Yep.
That's what I was wondering, too. Do you think that Sophie and Rob and Ed and Liz are going to exit early? That's why there's all these new additions. Is that what's going on? Because there's way too many couples on this season for it to fit into an episode. So somebody has to drop off, right? People have to drop off. And I'm wondering if that's why we're not getting everyone right away, because they only have so much footage of Angela and Michael. Because let's be real, he arrived in December. He left her in February, March, right?
Yep.
So they were only filming for, let's say, 2 months, maybe a month. There's not a lot that they have to go off of. So I'm assuming that they're going to hold them off until later in the season so they can air what they have. They can't start them out in the beginning. You know, kind of like what they did with Debbie and Osama. They only had so much footage because the relationship fizzled out pretty quick once she got over there. So they waited until like episode 8 or something crazy to put her in because they didn't have enough to stretch it out through the season. And I wonder if that's what they're doing with Angela and Michael, because I thought it was interesting that they were the main people on the preview for this season. It was Angela and Michael and Gino and Jasmine. Angela and Michael were absent from the premiere, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but we had an overabundance of Dumb and Dumber. Like, the whole thing was
I can't. I told y'all before, I'm like least excited about this. It's kind of scary though, because 90 Day has been my whole thing for like a decade. So it's kind of scary when something you love, you don't love anymore. Yeah. And I was like, this season is making me not love what I used to love. You know, y'all know I'm
possibly one of the hardest episodes I've ever watched, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I got a lot of texts saying the same thing. People were like, are you seeing this? They're like, this is so boring. I can't get through this. I actually had somebody tweet me and say that they turned it off to watch the Nickelodeon Dateline special, and they're like, I'll just watch your recap later. They're like, I can't get through this. They're like, you can tell me the important parts because I really don't see anything going on. And I feel like that's kind of scary. This might be the beginning of the end. And I'm really scared because I've dedicated a lot. I'm a human encyclopedia when it comes to this show, you know? So if it goes away, that's kind of scary, right?
This is not the beginning of the end. They're going to come back in full force once they get all this bullshit off of here. Once they get rid of Nuttally and Angela and Jasmine, and once they take the dirt off the screen, it's worth watching. We were all very excited about the new season of 90 Day Fiancé, and then they threw Nikki in, and that ruined it. Because it ruined it because 90 Day Fiancé is people coming here. Nikki didn't have somebody come here. She was out of place, out of line through the whole thing. So she was just a space filler again.
You know what? I think that the situation started to get out of hand when they started bending the rules. And it started when they put Ed and Liz on Happily Ever After and they weren't married. And I think once they started going again,
it started when Ed and Liz made TV, because neither one of them are from a different place. They're both from the United States.
Right.
So they shouldn't be on this bullshit at all. Neither one of them.
Yeah, you're right. That's where.
Yeah,
that's the beginning of it, and they started bending their own rules.
Yeah.
Because the rules were, to be on The Other Way, you had to get on a plane and move to another country. To be on Happily Ever After, you needed to be married. To be on 90 Day Fiancé OG, somebody had to land in the U.S. Because I remember back in the day, it said, are you someone in a relationship who has applied for the K-1 visa and was approved? That was part of the application.
That's what it says now. Whenever it's all over Instagram, whenever because they're looking for new people, that's exactly what it says. Are you moving abroad, or are you wanting to meeting someone for the first time, or have you applied for the K-1 visa? It says the same thing, but it's not like that. Ed and Liz, he came on the single life when him and Rose broke up. Then he got in a relationship with Liz, and it's like we can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
Like, why were they on 90 Day Fiancé? Why were they on any of this? Neither one of them are from another country.
And they've been on 50 freaking spinoffs.
You're right. Oh, yeah, Veronica, too. You're right. See, they started bending their own rules, and I think that's where the nonsense started. And now they don't know how to stick. They don't stick to anything now. Everything is whatever they want to do now. And I think we need to get back to the way it was. Somebody needed to be coming over here or going over there, right? That was the deal. That's what made the show a #1 reality show 5 years ago. You know, and you got to get back to where you were and stop bending the rules for people. They're like, oh, well, this is a good story. Nikki Exotica, she's a trans woman. This is a good story. We've never done this. Let's try it. No, you can't do that. You have to stick to the rules that you set, right? You know, like as a show and a franchise, your show has rules, you know, because this isn't Love is Blind, okay? This isn't The Bachelorette. You know, you have to stick to the rules of what the show is and then leave the authenticity there. And I think we've lost the authenticity of the show. And I think that they're now just casting actors and influencers to play roles. And that's fine, but the only people you're pissing off are the people who want to watch it. Yeah. You know, everybody thinks that they're winning except the people who are watching the show. We don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you about Ashley and Manuel, because Manuel has 2 teenage kids. And Ashley doesn't know them. She's been over to Ecuador many, many times. She has said she maybe have talked to them on the phone a couple of times. And she's known Manuel for like a decade. What's going on? Does he have more kids? What is the situation where he wouldn't want her to be involved with her children? I have theories, but I want to hear what you have to say too. Because he's almost been there for a full year. And
because they're already in the U.S. How many times have me and Cara got to say this? That's why. And that lady is not his aunt. That's his wife.
Yes.
Really? So his kids are already in the U.S., so he doesn't need to bring them over?
No, and that's why she can't talk to him. No point.
There's definitely something super fishy. Yep. You know, and it's funny because they got married, and now we're almost a year later when this was filmed, and she's still saying they have no communication. She's still saying she knows nothing about him. Nothing has changed. He's still secretive. He's still keeping secrets from him. He still doesn't talk to her. He still hides his entire personal life from her. He still can't speak any good English. He did say, I I need an ambulance in English though. Did y'all catch that in the beginning when
Yep.
he was in the spin class? Also, what do we think of Ashley as a instructor, a fitness instructor? Do we like this? Because
that's not even her primary job, because primary job is a freaking witch.
yes, she's a practicing witch full time. How do you feel about the fact that people pay her money to tell her the future when she couldn't predict it was gonna rain in Florida during hurricane season? How do we feel about that? People are giving. At this point, I would just tell people to set their money on fire, just throw it in the fireplace, because there's so much more you could do than pay her for anything, right?
Hold on, we're winding Dee Dee up. And go. Turn her loose.
I don't even know where to start on this one. Okay, she says she's a freaking witch. She is not a freaking witch, because if she was a freaking witch, then she would know that her husband is already married. His wife is not his wife is his aunt. His kids are here in the United States. His mom, I don't even know if that is his mom. And then he's probably got like 20 other children everywhere. That's why he is so freaking private. And on top of that, like, his whole family is over here. That's why he don't want her to have any kind of conversation with nobody in his family. The bitch is not a witch.
Yep. Amen.
So
girl. Amen.
If his family's all over here, who's getting the money that they're sending back? That was my question. Who is they sending money to?
His mom's there.
So they're sending his mom money. Do you think that his mom is eventually going to come over here too? You think that's the plan?
She'll either be here, she's sending the money to the rest of the family.
No,
I
don't think his mom's coming over here. It's what I think is going on is they're sending money over there because he's got to have enough money for whenever he finally gets his green card.
Yep.
His whole family's already over here. Then that way he can get them the green card, because they can, you know what I'm saying? He can, how you say it? It's like a process. Whenever you have a green card, then him and the fake witch can get a divorce, and then that's whenever they can get married here in the United States, his legit wife, and then he can get them papers. So by her sending all that money over there, by the time all this process goes and they go back to Ecuador, wham bam, they got money to live off of.
Yep.
So you think he's gonna go back to Ecuador when he gets his green card? Is that what you're saying?
No, because he's still got to get his wife and his kids their green card.
Okay, so he's gonna stay here long enough to get his green card, apply for their green card. So wait,
but he's got to get all the money that he can to Ecuador, so whenever they do get over to Ecuador, then they have money to live off of.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm open to any explanation, because I know for a fact he's not here because he's in love with Ashley.
No.
Like that's been ruled out for me. Like,
20-year contract is what he said. He said that the day of the wedding.
You're right. That is what he said at the wedding. That is what he said. This is
and he's certainly not here because he wants to be in a freaking spin class with her.
Well, no. And the fact that she has to do a side job as a spin instructor when she's a practicing witch says a lot, because first of all, if you're a good psychic or witch, you can make as much money as possible, because people are literally throwing money at you to get information, right? Like, people are literally throwing money at you to make the right decision. And I always thought, like, if I had that gift, wouldn't I just tell myself the Powerball numbers? I know that's probably right. Like, would I just tell myself the Powerball numbers and then just use that? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it works that way. I'm not a clairvoyant or a psychic or a witch, but in my opinion, if I had that, I would, whatever is going to be high up in the stock market tomorrow, I would take the Powerball money that I got and I would put it in there, and then I would own Apple, right? And then boom, I don't have to do anything anymore, right? Like, that's how I would use the gift. I don't know. I'm not saying I wouldn't help people, but I would help me first, right? I would help me first. And I feel like Ashley's out here helping other people. Like, when she was at the tell-all, trying to tell people how to make better decisions, and I'm like, ma'am, help yourself. Your decisions are horrible. Oh, so let's talk about her debt. So they were trying to do one of those post-nums, right? And we're learning that Ashley has $100,000 in debt. Is anyone surprised?
No.
Okay. No. It's interesting, though, because we saw her house. It's not amazing. We saw her car. It's okay. Like, what does she owe $100,000 from? Do you think it's all the traveling? Because remember, she said she did a lot of traveling. Where would she have accumulated so much?
It's the witch school.
There's a witch school?
I'm guessing that's where she got her witchery from.
I mean, maybe. Oh, coffee is expensive. Coco says coffee. Coco. Okay, coffee is expensive. I was just buying Starbucks this past weekend, and it was like, well, granted, I was at a theme park, but I was paying a lot of money for Starbucks. I was like, Jesus Christ, is there like liquid gold grinded into this? So it was very expensive, but $100,000 is a lot. And I guess when he marries her, well, no, when they do this postnup, he's going to be responsible for that. Is that how it works when you get
half
married?
of it? Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
But he wasn't here when she accumulated that.
It doesn't matter. They
When
didn't.
you
They
get
didn't get a
married,
prenup.
yep.
It doesn't matter. They didn't get a prenup.
That's scary.
Married, 50,
Because
50, 50. What's mine is yours.
Because you know, people are very secretive. You know, you don't always learn. You know, well, Cara, I can't say this. This doesn't apply to you. If you lying, Cara's gonna know what you're lying about. But some people can hide things really well. So, like, can you imagine if you were in a relationship and you marry somebody and then you find out they have like $100,000 in debt? That's scary. That's really scary because when that debt becomes your debt, can't they like sue you for the debt? Like, how does debt work? Can they sue you for debt? How does it work? Can they come after you?
Well, I mean, they can put liens on your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not even your debt. See?
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, I'm assuming that most people on 90 Day Fiancé probably have like that much debt. I'm assuming that. Like, because let's be real, the decision process of the people on this show is aligned with people who probably owe somebody that much. Like, remember Danielle? Danielle, she owed like at least 100. I don't know. She kind of owed close to $100,000 just to the toll department in New York City, right? Just from tolls. I can only imagine what she owed other people, right? She owed like that much in that. So I'm assuming that, you know, people in the 90 Day Fiancé world, they make some pretty split second, last minute decisions, and I'm assuming that's something that. But I think this is gonna put a hole in Manuel's plan because he's gonna need money to bring his family over and apply for the paperwork and everything. And if she doesn't have any, you know, how's he gonna get it? You know, how is he going to make this happen if she's not the bottomless pit bank for him to continue this situation of bringing his wife, his kids, or whoever he needs to bring over here and get them, you know, over here? If she's run out of, if the well runs dry, you know, where are they going to go now? Because he's already pulling money from Ashley's mom, probably Ashley's sisters. Like, once the well runs dry, is it going to just be the end of the road?
Well, I mean, he's going to continue acting so that he can continue getting his TLC checks. I mean, that's a lot of money to him.
Oh, yeah, to him. Yeah, to us, we're like, that's not worth selling my soul over.
Right.
But,
well, now, I mean, but now he knows that since they got married, he's responsible for half of that debt. So actually, he owes $50,000 in debt that doesn't even belong to him.
Yep.
Mm.
And he's stuck with it right now. So.
But wait, I have a question.
What a shitty day. You find out you owe $50,000 that you didn't know you owed. You have to live with her. You have to look at her. You have to sleep with her. That's a horrible scenario. I feel sorry for him. He needs to run.
I have a question. Okay, hypothetically, he divorces Ashley. Does the debt go away then?
No.
No.
It's still his?
Now it's 50-50.
Yeah.
No way to get out of it.
No.
The only way to get out of it, the only way to get out of that is if they go sign divorce papers and it's in the divorce papers, I am not responsible for this, and she signs it.
Oh.
That's it.
And we all know that she's not going to sign it.
No, why would you, if she could sign off half of her debt to someone else and they already hate each other, why not, right? Why would anyone not do that? I would be like, no, I don't even like them anymore. They can have that. That's their parting gift from me. You know, like I would totally do that. Like, why would you? Because you're getting divorced. You already don't get along.
Absolutely.
That's like giving somebody a $50,000 present. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, Judy says bankruptcy. So bankruptcy will probably be his only option, right?
It depends.
Well, why wouldn't
you can't do bankruptcy if you're not an American citizen. You cannot do bankruptcy in the U.S. But you have to be an American citizen.
What?
But it
so
also depends
if you don't have your green card, what if after he gets his green card, still no?
He's not an American citizen. He's a citizen because he married an American citizen. If you're not an American, legit American citizen like we are, you cannot do bankruptcy.
So he cannot file for bankruptcy. She can, but it depends on what her $100,000 in debt is for. If it's anything government, if it's schooling, like school loans, no. If it's taxes, no. If it's anything like that, anything government, you can't file bankruptcy on that.
Also, some debt you can't write off.
Yes.
It depends on what the debt is.
That is correct.
Oh, okay. Because I was, we've watched a lot of cast members, they just file a lot, so I never knew what the rules were. So I guess their bankruptcy fell under whatever the rules were. They were able to do that. So if you owe the government debt, you can't file. That makes sense.
That's why we were talking about Danielle going to the DR because she filed bankruptcy but still owed money.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And if she comes back here, they can garnish her wages. That's what we were talking about. Yes. As to why even after she was no longer with Johan, she was still in his country. Because remember, I was like, can you imagine you trying to leave somebody and they like set up shop in your neighborhood? You can't get away because she done set up shop right around the corner from you, even though y'all aren't together anymore. That's kind of what she did. She set up shop right in his neighborhood.
Literally.
This is, it's interesting to hear. I didn't know that you couldn't file for bankruptcy if you weren't an American citizen. So I think that it's kind of shady when these people are brought over here and they're not told the full story, because I know he wouldn't have married her if he knew she owed that much money, right?
It's shady all the way around. Is it shady that she didn't tell him she had debt? Or is it shady that he didn't tell her his freaking family's here and she's supporting him?
Well, no, it's shady all the way around. Like, remember, we saw the first shot of shadiness was with Muhammad and Danielle, right? They don't tell everybody the full thing. She didn't tell him that she was broke. He didn't tell her that he just wanted to drink her. And we saw it too with George and Anfisa. George was like, "Oh, I'm rich. You're going to have the best life in the world." She moved into that tiny little apartment. He couldn't pay for anything. Like, they are, what do you call it? They're catfishing each other. They're both parties. They're telling people a unbelievable story of how I'm going to change your life. And then when they both get here, they both are like, "Oh, well, no, I lied about all of that. I don't actually have the money, or I don't actually want to sleep with you, or I don't actually want, Annalise, like, I don't actually want to touch you. Like, that was just, the fluff that I gave you so I could get over here. So, because, once they get over here, it's really hard to send them back.
Yeah.
So like, once they get over here, they know that they've got it in the bag. And no, it's shady all the way around. I think that people are selling a fluffed version of reality to each other, and people are buying those versions of reality, and then they end up like Ashley and Manuel. You're stuck with somebody, and it's on both sides. She's stuck with somebody who's clearly using her for, benefits of being over here, and then he's stuck with somebody who she's handed half her debt to him. They're screwing each other over.
Yeah.
So do we feel bad for them? Probably not, right? Because they both were playing the game. It's kind of like when two people are playing a game and one person, like when you go to the casino and you gamble, you're playing the game. Do you feel bad for the person who loses? No, because they knew what they were doing. They made a high stakes risk and they lost. And unfortunately, when you're taking a risk when marrying someone and bringing them over here and signing your name to them for a lifetime, and
you're taking a risk marrying somebody that you've known for 10 years, that you've lived with, it's still a risk. But when you've just spoke to someone 7 times over video, and now it's fine. It's fine. We'll just get married because you're cute, I'm cute, we like each other, and I think you've got money. You think I've got money.
Right? It's all gonna work out. Right? Like what Ashley said. Ashley's like, yeah, we got plenty of problems, but after we get married, it'll all change.
No, after they go in a public bathroom and freaking do the nasty, then it calms down.
I applaud Manuel for his dedication to this, because when Anna Lee got here, she wasn't trying to give it up. Manuel gave it up really quick, so I applaud him for, he's like, no, I'm in this for the long haul. I know what I want out of this. I'm gonna give her what she wants, because the faster I do this, the faster I can get things filed, so I can get what I want. Because Anna Lee, it took her a lot of encouragement from everybody for her to be like, do I really have to touch this man? Like, she was just like, really? Is this something that I really have to do? Because even her mom was like, no, you gotta do this. Like, this is part of it. You know, like, this is part of it. You're over there now. It's too late. You know, you got to go on with your plan. But Manuel is like, hey, wherever you want to do it, bathroom, the zoo, in the car. You know, I applaud him. He's definitely.
But that was before he found out that she's in $100,000 debt, and he is responsible for 50% of it.
Now he doesn't want to touch that with Gino's debt.
Yeah. And now at this point, he's going to be like, I want my own separate bedroom. You know, like at this point, he's going to want a door with a lock on it. So he doesn't have to even interact with her. And then his food can be like slid under the door, right? Like he's just done at this point, which good. You know, I feel like when people use each other and they take advantage of people on both ends, I don't take sides. I think they both should pay the price for what they did. People shouldn't be taken advantage of like that. And Gino, I think it's funny because Jasmine said that Gino need to get a job because, you know, she's like, you need to make enough money to support me and my kids and buy me a house and all this stuff. And I do think, you know, I hate this, that she's right, because when you are starting a new relationship and you're trying to have a kid, it's very reckless for you to be unemployed during that time because a lot of things can go wrong. There could be complications. If she does get pregnant and there's complications, there's a lot of...
He's got a fat amount of savings hidden that she doesn't know about. And all of his family knows about it. That's why they pushed for the prenup. He's got fat money that she does not know about. And by him saying, I'm broke, we can't afford it, we need to budget, blah, 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 he's fine to not work. Now, her, on the other hand, she needs to get her ass on some kind of website or scrubbing someone's floors with that fake ass and those whatever you want to call it. She needs to be doing something to earn some money.
Apparently she likes sucking toes and licking feet. So, I mean, come on.
Well,
she can find somebody else's toes to suck.
We know how they met. We know what website. Remember when she said tonight, they were like, we met on a website. We know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
This wasn't Christian Mingle. This wasn't eHarmony, y'all. We know what.
It was not farmers.com.
No, it was not. So we know that she was looking for somebody with money. And I always said, having a lot of savings is good, but when you're only making debits and no credits, you know, your savings, it goes a lot faster than when you put it in there. Because I think when...
But also, she's making money, you know, on her OnlyFans, but we're sure that her and Nikki have an OnlyFans together now. So
how sure are we? Because I haven't seen anything.
Well, I haven't gone on OnlyFans to check, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, I feel like I would have heard people send me things, even terrible things. Like there was a picture of Scott that was very disturbing. That people thought was great.
It's all over social media.
Yeah.
I'm still...
It is all over social media.
I woke up and then I saw this picture and I was like, well, I just want to go back to sleep because today's not going to be a great day now that I've seen that. Yeah. And I was like, why would anyone
go back to sleep because now I would have nightmares. So,
well, yeah, and it's crazy to me what Instagram leaves up nowadays, right? Like, because at this point, I'm like, why is this still up? You know, like, and actually, Britney Spears posted a bunch of pictures the other day too. I don't know if y'all saw those. She was on somebody's beach naked. Like, what is up with people lately? Like, what's going on? Like, we got to check on people, and I really want to. That's another day topic, but. Britney Spears, Dee, we'll talk about that on the other podcast, right? We're gonna get on that too because you know Gypsy Rose Blanchard deleted her Instagram. So on the pop culture podcast that we're gonna film next week, we're gonna be talking about all that. There's a whole lot of stuff going on that outside of 90 Day that we really need to tackle too. You know, there's a lot of craziness going on.
Yep.
Okay,
so a whole lot of craziness.
This episode, lackluster being as it may, episode 1 we're already in, so we're gonna start next week with episode 2. So tomorrow is part 1 of the Single Life Tell-All. I heard through the grapevine that there's 3 parts.
I thought it was only 1.
No, there's definitely 2. But somebody, I have a source, but you know my sources have been shitty lately because they also told me that, not the same person, but people have also told me Nicole and Mahmoud weren't on. But I heard from someone.
I know your source, so if you're saying that it's 2 episodes, I believe it.
I don't think you know the source, but they said there's 3.
episodes. Oh my God.
Which I think, but it looks like each one of them is an hour long. So technically, it's basically 2 parts because normally we get 2 hours.
Probably, yeah, because Seeking Sister Wife is on
After, right? So it's an hour, yeah. Right. And then there's Pillow Talk after Seeking Sister Wife. So I'm pretty sure that means that we're gonna get an hour tomorrow, an hour the week after, and then there's a third one. There's an hour after that. So we will see how. I mean, this was the drama that we wanted. I liked what I saw in the previews. There's a lot of there's a proposal, and I'm kind of sure I know who it is. It's the very first ever single life proposal because Cara, I think you sent me a picture of this person wearing a wedding ring recently. So I'm pretty sure I know who this person is. So there's gonna be a proposal on one of these episodes. I don't know. Somebody told me 3. No, Judy, don't put it in there. You're gonna ruin it for everybody. I don't want to.
Everybody's pretty much saying it's probably gonna be John with Megan, so Megan is shut up.
Well, yeah, but we shouldn't say that because if it is, then we ruin it for everybody. We shouldn't. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But everybody. Well, we know that Jamal is not proposing to Veronica, right? Right. We know that.
Yes.
Right. So,
but it would be awesome if Jamal proposed to Louisa. That would be a spin.
I would be happy with that.
But
I would be very happy. I thought that
we're all waiting for.
And then they could come back on Happily Ever After, even though they're both American, right? Because there's no rules. We just do whatever we want now. There's no rules.
Yeah.
You know, this is TLC's America, right? We make up whatever we want to do. We do what we want. You can be on a 90 Day Fiance show, even if you both are born in the U.S. Who cares, right? That's just what we're doing now.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So,
dang. Maybe I need to find me a fake person to be on TLC then.
Let's go. You want to go?
Do it, and then I can be.
You want to go on 90 Day? Let's do it.
Yeah, and then we can be your best friends, and then we'll be the ones driving you to the airport, telling you not to do it. You know, we'll be your besties. We'll be on the show and be like, "Gigi, don't do that. He's good for a green card."
Everybody would be like, "This is scripted because Dee Dee don't fly."
Oh yeah. No, Dee Dee, you can't. Yeah, you can't be on the show because you never go over there, or you'd have to be one of those people who never met them ever and then just brought them over and y'all meet for the first time when they get here. Because you would never fly to any other country. I don't even think you would fly to Canada. That's too far, right?
I would drive.
It's fine, Dee Dee. I'll fly to you, my sister, wife, fiance.
Yeah.
You can be my sister, wife, Cara.
Yes. I accept.
Hey, this is what we can do. George can be our husband, and then we can be sister wives. There you go.
Would people believe that? Would people think that I would do that?
I mean,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we're practically together all the time anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't think. I don't see myself as a Garrick. I don't see myself as a Garrick.
You don't have to be a Garrick.
Hey, George, money talks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying if somebody offered me some money, I could be a Garrick. Just give me a couple of days to study my role. You know, if you offer me the right amount of money, I'll be whoever y'all need me to be. Just give me the script and give me some time, right?
We won't call you George. We'll call you Jorge. It'll be believable.
I like that. I used to go by Jorge when I was in middle school. I like that.
Fun.
Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap this up tonight. We're going to come back tomorrow night. We're going to talk about the tell-all of the single life. And we're going to do a pop culture podcast next week. I don't know what day, but hopefully, because we need to talk about a lot of stuff going on outside of 90 days. So we're going to get into that too. George is a guy with 2 wives. Mark, shut up. I would never. I'm not like that. I don't know. Am I? I don't know. I'll get back to you.
As long as it's me and Cara, you're okay.
I'll think about it overnight and I'll let y'all know. I'm not sure. All right, guys. So make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, GeorgeMossey.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, type in the George Mossey Show. Make sure you're following my co-hosts. It's very important that you do. They're both tagged in this video. And do you go to Disney every month? I do, usually every week.
I was going to say that's
well, not every day. I wasn't there today. All right, guys. Make sure you're following both my co-hosts and me, and we're going to talk to all you guys tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us. Everybody have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you all really soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.